Mrs. Parker, do we have a quorum?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Great. Our next item on the agenda is election of officers. Mrs. Parker, will you please open the floor for nominations of the Design Review Committee Chair?
Yes, sir. Are there any nominations for chair?
I nominate Paul Costello for chair.
All right, is there a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. So, election of Vice Chair. Mrs. Parker, will you please open the floor for nominations of the Design Review Committee for Vice Chair?
Yes, sir. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
Yes. What's your last name?
Armstrong.
I recommend Mrs. Armstrong.
All right, and do we have a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is review of Design Review Committee bylaws. Ms. Alexandra Spalding, Deputy County Attorney, will go over the proposed changes to the bylaws, and approval of the bylaws will require a motion and a vote.
Good evening. I'm Alexandra Spalding, and I've met two of the three of you. I am the Deputy County Attorney, and I serve with your committee, and I understand you don't meet all that often. But tonight, one of the things we must do, because it's your annual meeting, is we must look at the bylaws. And I have made some changes based on changes made to the Board of Supervisors bylaws, the Planning Commission's bylaws, and some of those were put into effect by the Virginia Code. So I'm hopeful that you had a chance to look over the packet ahead of time. I drafted a brief memo for you. Do you want me to go over all of these? Do you have questions? How would you like me to present these to you?
I'm happy just to ask questions. I mean, if we've all read it.
Okay,
'Cause
very
I do
good.
have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When I read through the remote participation policy, which Article 4,
Yes, ma'am.
it's pretty clear until I get down to 4.2.1, where it appears to say that there's only a quorum if one of the members is participating remotely because they either have a disability or are a caregiver for a person with a disability.
Yes, ma'am.
But we should be able to have a quorum if the person's out because of a personal matter as well. So I don't know if I'm misreading it or drawing it too tightly.
Actually, I do not believe a person who is out for a personal matter counts toward the quorum. Two people have to be physically present. You have to have a majority, two people physically present in the location. The Virginia Code changed this to allow for a person to be out for this reason and still count for quorum, and you are an awfully small body. But let me look at this.
We did have, in one meeting, we did have a special motion to allow one of our members
Yeah.
participate
I
remotely.
think he was sick.
Yeah. Now, I think we had a quorum without him.
Well, we voted in the beginning to allow that to
Right.
take place, but I think it was a one-time
There were two.
thing. It wasn't a blanket, right?
So there was, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'm going back a little ways, where Mr. Dandridge and Ms. Armstrong were both present
Yes.
at that
Yeah,
meeting.
so we did have a quorum.
You did have a quorum, but it allowed electronic participation of our third member at the time who was sick and it was a meeting that had been seen by the Design Review Committee 2 times, and it was a third meeting that it was important that he be part of discussion. So they allowed, had a special meeting to allow that.
Yeah, and I believe, Ms. Spalding, we had that similar discussion, I believe, with the Planning Commission and the board. It is confusing that you have sort of different reasonings of absence.
Right.
I think so. It is the law, and it is confusing. It seems contradictory how it occurs, but it's more an impact for you because you're only a 3-person body versus the 5 of our other committees, BZA, PC, and board.
But if we did have a situation where one of our members was not present due to a personal matter, or they could be present virtually, would we have to do a special meeting again to allow them to participate in that meeting?
Under your
Or-
bylaws, with regard to missing for a personal matter, I believe they have to let the chair know within a time frame, and then you all have to vote to allow that participation, and they have to give you information, I believe, upon where they are and oh, I'm sorry, it's actually the chair who can make, this is different than the planning commission. The chair can actually make the decision, and then the other two members can appeal the chair's decision if they wish to.
But if we were down to one member in person, that
Right.
person would not constitute a quorum.
That is my, no, that is my understanding, that for somebody, one of the three of you missing for a personal reason, you can still participate, but you don't count for quorum. If one of you is missing because you meet the definition of being a caregiver or you are a person with a disability, and that's defined in the Virginia Code, you can actually be present electronically and count towards quorum.
So it's just one person and then one virtual, we don't make a quorum.
If it's purely for illness, so, and I think the distinction is, and that you just stressed, it's the disability or you have you're a caregiver, you already have something that's sort of a pre-understood type of activity, right? Then that person can count towards quorum electronically. I think that's what you just said. I'm just repeating again.
Would it be illegal to have one in person and one virtually due to a personal matter?
You do not have, I actually have to go back and check the Virginia Code on that, but I believe that you have to have at least two members of a body present in the physical location in order for somebody else to participate electronically. Of course, you also have an issue, here you can only have one person participating electronically, I believe, and you also have a quorum issue, whereas larger bodies, they have different issues with quorum and people separating.
Okay.
But if you wish me to go back and look that up, I'm happy to do so.
Well, kind of for my education, but it's not critical. But I mean, hopefully, we're never gonna run into that issue, you know, because we can always move the meeting, but just,
Would that be the way to mitigate it?
That's still an
I'm sorry.
alternate.
Yep, or have our alternate, we do have an
Yeah,
alternate
that's right.
serving.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're.
That's
we're not-
absolutely defendable. It's one of the reasons I think that letting the chair know ahead of time that somebody is going to be unavailable, either I have a personal reason or I qualify, but you may wish to get somebody else
Right.
depending upon what's going on, so then you actually can have quorum.
Yeah.
And the business of the committee can run whether or not the third person
Yeah.
participates.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
So we need to approve those, right?
Yes, you will need a motion and a vote for the approval of the amendments to the bylaws.
I make a motion that we approve the amendments to the bylaws.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Approval of the minutes, I guess is the next item.
Yes, sir.
Is there any questions on the minutes, changes?
I think it's fine.
Okay,
I'll move that we approve the minutes as presented.
the second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
All right.
okay. Is there any other business?
No other business.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's too soon. Now I gotta cook dinner. I need to run in